You wake up, reach for the nightstand, and there is a number waiting for you. 52, 40 minutes of deep sleep, score of 58 out of 100, and then, about a second later, you feel tired. Hold on to the order of those two things. I am going to come back to it, because the whole video is in there. I went looking for what these devices actually measure, not what the box says. What comes out when somebody puts them next to a proper sleep lab and compares. The short version is that your ring is quite good at telling that you are asleep. It is close to blind at telling that you are awake, which is the part you actually care about. So let's start with what is inside the thing. In a sleep lab, there are electrodes on your scalp. They pick up electrical activity in your brain, plus your eye movements, plus muscle tone at your chin. From those three signals, a trained person reads off which stage you are in. That is why somebody can say, with a straight face, deep sleep starts here. Your ring has none of that. It has a motion sensor and a green light that reads blood flow under your skin. From those two, a model estimates how you slept. That is not a measurement. That is a guess built on two indirect signals, which does not make it worthless. It makes it a guess, and guesses have a hit rate. We know that hit rate. In 2021, a group ran 7 off-the-shelf devices at the same time as a full polysomnography on 34 healthy adults across 3 nights. At detecting sleep, every single device scored at least 93%. That is good. At detecting wake, they scored between 18 and 54%. I want to say that number again, because it slides past you the first time. 18%. The worst device called 4 out of 5 of your awake moments sleep. And once you sit with it for a second, that is not a fluke. It is the design. How does a motion sensor know you are awake? Movement. And what do you do at 3 in the morning when you are awake and trying to get back to sleep? You lie perfectly still, the exact thing the device scores as sleep, which means the night you spent an hour staring at the ceiling looks, to your ring, like a night with an extra hour of sleep in it. In that same study, 2 of the devices overshot total sleep time by about 44 and 47 minutes, and they undercounted the time you spent awake during the night by roughly 50. That is close to an hour, in the wrong direction, and the wrong direction happens to be the flattering one. Now the stages, because that is where most people look. There is a number for how well 2 scorers agree. Once you subtract the agreement you would get from pure chance. It is called Kappa. 1 would be perfect, 0 would be a coin. A 2025 evaluation put 6 current devices against the lab on 62 adults, average age 46, so roughly the people I am talking to. The Apple Watch came out at 0.53. That was the best of them. The worst sat at 0.21. If 2 doctors agreed at that level on a scan, you would go get a third opinion. The authors call it fair to moderate, which is generous. For a number that shows up on your screen in the morning looking like a fact, it is thin. And there is one property of these devices that bothered me more than the rest. They get worse when your sleep gets worse. It is almost a throwaway line in the 2021 paper. The devices performed worse on nights with disrupted sleep, which is to say, on exactly the nights you bought the thing for. That is the accuracy story. Now here is the part I made the video for, because whether the number is right turns out not to be the most interesting question. In Oxford, researchers had 63 people with diagnosed insomnia wear a watch overnight. In the morning, half of them were told they had slept well. The other half were told they had slept badly. The feedback was made up. It had nothing to do with what the watch recorded. The group told they slept badly felt noticeably more tired through the day, and rated their own thinking as noticeably worse. The effect sizes were about 0.8 and 0.55, which in this field are large. And then the detail that makes it worth telling. On the objective tests, the ones that actually timed their reactions, there was no difference between the groups. Their performance was the same, only their experience of it was not. It runs the other way too. In an older experiment at a university in North Carolina, 50 students were shown a machine that had supposedly analyzed their brainwaves from the night before. Half were told their REM sleep came in at 28.7%, above average. The other half were told 16.2%, below average. Also invented. Then a maths test. The group with the good news averaged just under 35. The group with the bad news averaged 22. Same people, same night of sleep. One number in between. Which brings us back to the order at the start. You see the number and then you feel tired. Not the other way around. There is even a name for the point where this tips over. In 2017, 3 doctors in Chicago wrote up cases from their clinic and coined a word for it. Orthosomnia. Built on orthorexia, the person who is unwell from eating too correctly. It means people who sleep worse because they are determined to sleep right. One case stuck with me. A 27-year-old came in because her tracker was reporting poor sleep. They studied her in the lab, electrodes, the real thing. Her sleep was fine. She had plenty of deep sleep. She did not believe the result. She thought her Fitbit was the more accurate source. And the patients in those cases all did the same thing. They started spending more time in bed, trying to get the number up. If you watched the last video, you already know why I close my eyes for a second here. Spending longer in bed to collect more sleep is the one move that reliably backfires. The bed turns into the place where you lie awake. So the tracker is pushing people precisely toward the habit that the actual treatment exists to pull them out of. Now let me be fair to the thing because I wear one. These devices can do something. They measure movement. And movement across weeks is real information. When you got into bed, when you got up, how far that drifts on a Saturday. That is the most useful number your tracker produces, and it is usually printed small, somewhere near the bottom. And there is one case where the technology has actually proven itself. Samsung and Apple both got clearance from the American drug regulator for a feature that flags signs of sleep apnea. That was tested and cleared. What I find telling is what did not get cleared. The sleep stages. The clearance went to the part nobody looks at in the morning. The professional body's line on the rest is short. These devices cannot diagnose a sleep disorder, and almost none of them have ever been reviewed by a regulator. If your sleep has been bad for months, that belongs with somebody who can examine you, whatever the ring says. So what do you do with this week? Don't look at the number first thing. Wait until midday. By then you have already formed your own opinion about how the day is going, and the score cannot overwrite it. If your app has a setting that hides the score, use it. And judge weeks, not nights. A single night from a tracker is mostly noise. 7 nights in a row with the same bedtime is a signal, and it happens to be one the device can genuinely measure. I am not telling you to throw it away. Mine is still on the nightstand. I just stopped looking at it before breakfast. The studies are linked below. I'm not a doctor. If this has been going on for months, or if you snore and wake up feeling hit by a truck, that is worth taking to someone who can actually examine you, not to a stick figure on the internet.